Bethel family, and welcome to Combos and Coffee Love Story Edition. I am Pastor Terri-Lynn. This is my handsome hubby Derek, and we are going to be sharing our love story today. We love sharing our love stories, so this is fun. But before we do that, I'm going to share a Bible verse, and this verse is my life verse. But it also describes the journey that we both had to take in order to finally meet each other and have this love story. And it's Proverbs 3:5-6. And it's trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all of your ways, acknowledge him and he will direct your paths. And that verse really does describe the journey that we both went on in seeking God for our spouse. And so, babe, you want to start us off?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, we met back in July 2017.
Yep.
It's been almost 4 years now, 3.5, 4. Has it been 4 years? Anyways. I was a waiter. I was a server at a restaurant downtown Ottawa. I'd been serving for almost a year at the time. And one night, it was after a long night of work, my manager comes up to me and says, Derek, we've got a party coming in. It's about an hour and a bit late. If you take it, your friend, your coworker, he can go home early. Now, normally I wasn't big on serving parties. I like small tables, small sections. But I thought, you know what, I'll take it. It's already been a long night. I might as well make it longer. Anyways, so I'm hanging around. The night's almost over, and this party still hasn't arrived. And all of a sudden, in walks the party.
Yeah, so that party was a bachelorette party that I was a part of. It was a group of girls from Bethel. We were 2 hours late for our reservation. And so when we got there, we didn't even know if we could get a meal by then because it was so late. But we came in, sat down at our table, and then our server walks out, who was Derek. And so he walks out. A little just background, I have been praying for years that God would let me know when I met my husband, that he would give me a yes. And so in just a few seconds of him coming out, I knew there was something different about this guy. And the people from the church that were there, like Pastor Sarah Wall and Shannon, Pastor Rob's wife, were there, and they were looking at me being like, what is wrong with you? Why are you blushing so much? And I was just like, oh my goodness, I don't know, like, and in my head I was like, this is him, like, this is my husband. And I was just dealing with that. And so the entire meal, basically, he was feeling it as well. Like, what was he feeling?
Well, so I walk out to this bachelorette party, and all of a sudden, my attention is drawn to this beautiful blonde girl at one end of the table. And so I saw them, you know, when you bring water over, that's the first step. And as I do, I can see they're about to say grace. And so I of course step back, and I bow my head too. And they say grace about that, and you know, a light bulb goes off in my head, and I think maybe they're Christian. So she's beautiful, and she's a Christian.
And so the entire meal was basically me and my friends joking about what was happening, and me blushing and all of that, to finally, at the end of the night, as we were leaving, Derek actually stopped us on the way out as we were leaving.
Yeah, so I'd been going back and forth in my head. I'd been to, at that time I was attending several different churches in Ottawa, several different young adult groups, and I didn't recognize any of the people at the table. And so I thought, you know, I was going back and forth, do I say something? There was something in my head, in my heart, that was drawn to who I would later find out as Terri-Lynn. But I was so exhausted. Again, it had been a long night, long week, and I kept telling myself, you know, am I gonna stop them? Am I gonna start a conversation? You know, by this time it's almost, you know, 11:30 at night. I just wanted to get home, and finally, she's still upstairs. It was a 2-level restaurant. She was getting ready to go, and the first few girls from the table come out. I'm standing by the door at the server station, and you know what, I thought about just turning away and letting them walk out, but I thought, you know what, I'm gonna stop them. I just feel something in my heart. So I saw them, I said, you know what? Are you guys Christians? You guys go to church out here? And immediately they just swarmed me because, I guess.
Well, they knew that I was blushing, and they were all like, wow, this is amazing. And so, yeah, Derek asked us if we went to a church, and we all said, we go to Bethel. And he's like, oh, I've never been there before.
The one church I hadn't yet been to.
Yeah, and so we start talking. Long story short, the conversation goes to me and Derek, where I find out, Derek asked me where I'm from. I said Newfoundland. He's like, well, my family's from Newfoundland. My grandparents are from Newfoundland. And all these dots just began connecting. And so as we were then leaving the restaurant, I thought to myself, as I was leaving through the door, should I go back? Should I go back and just say something to him? But I was like, what would I say? I have no idea. So we did invite him out to church in the conversation. We invited him to come out to our young adult group, which was like in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, and so I stood at the door and said, okay, well, should I go back? And I was like, what would I say? I know that's just silly. And so I turned around, looked at him. All the rest of my friends were gone out through the door. He looked at me and said, I'll see you soon. And I looked at him and said, thank you. And so we left the restaurant, and I looked at all my friends and said, I just met my husband.
Now, so we didn't even know each other's names. Let me just add that in. She didn't know my name except for the receipt.
Yeah,
and I had no idea who she was.
Yeah, I found out his name because of the receipt, because he was our server. So we looked at it once we left the restaurant, but he did not know my name. He just knew that I was a children's pastor at Bethel.
So I went home and I had I texted my friend and I said, okay, so she goes to Bethel, and I think she's the children's pastor. And so, you know, we did this little search and turned her up, and so then I knew it was Terri-Lynn.
Yeah, so we were there in the middle of the street outside the restaurant, me and my friends, jumping up and down, me saying, I just met my husband. And then I actually called my mom and said, Mom, I just met my husband. She said, where are you? I said, downtown Ottawa. She said, go home. But anyway, short story, long story short, was that that's the night that we met, and then 2 weeks later he came out to the young adults night, and we talked some more, and the rest is history. We both knew immediately basically that we were the one God had for us, and so that is basically our love story. We've been married now for almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years, yeah.
And we love and we love marriage. It is such a blessing. And yeah, so that's our love story. We hope it encouraged you and brought a smile to your face. Have a great day.